Hello and welcome to Dreams of Wings, and welcome here to beautiful, beautiful Duxford. This, of course, is the Duxford for Microsoft Flight Simulator from MkIXc, and it's available free. Can you believe it? On flightsim.to. I'll put a link down below. We are all eternally grateful to Mick for putting this amazing piece of scenery together. A lot of big fans of it on the Dreams of Wings Discord. Hang on a minute, did you say Discord? I did. We have a Discord. I'll put a link down to that below. Do come along. We post screenshots, talk aeroplanes, especially if you're into Warbirds and anything with a propeller. There's even a helicopter section because if you know the channel, you know that I also like to fly helicopters. And we also have a Duxford specific voice channel. So if you're on the Discord and you're flying around Duxford, you can go in there, and any other Discord members that are flying around might be in there as well, and you can just coordinate what you're doing or just have a chat, have a natter. Anyway, I hope to see you there. As I say, link down below. What we're going to be doing today is taking this fantastic tribute repaint to G-ILDA. G-ILDA is a TR9 operated by Spitfires.com. A few years ago, I was very lucky to get to fly in her. And ever since, especially if you know the channel, you'll know that I started back in P3D flying a G-ILDA repaint. I've always liked to do that. It's an aircraft that means a lot to me. It's an experience that means a lot to me. So it's nice to feature her whenever I can and fly her whenever I can. So we're going to be flying from the original location for the Flying Legends Air Show, which is here at Duxford, to the new location, RAF Church Fenton as it was, Leeds East Airport as it is now. And we're going to take a look at RAF Cranwell on the way, where baby RAF officers come from. And it should be a nice flight this lovely sunny morning, bit of low mist. Anyway, I'll stop waffling, let's get flying. Well, if there's one thing you can say about the Warbird community, it is that they are dedicated. Look at that. Always guaranteed a crowd here at Virtual Duxford. And they are a very loyal bunch. Let's hope we don't give them something too hilarious to look at. I must confess I've been away from the Spitfire a little bit. I did a hop in her yesterday. I've been doing so much flying with GA and helicopters that I've neglected her. So that is going to change. Anyway, I don't want to waffle too much on the ground here because we want to get in the air. We want to do some flying. So let's do that. Let's just close the hatch. If I can find out where there it is. There's the mouse pointer. And we'll leave that on the latch there so that the canopy doesn't slide forward. Right, that's all good. That's all good. Just having a quick look around and making sure that everything's fine. We've got the parking brake set. Okay, so just looking around, I'm going to push the propeller fully fine. We will put mixture fully rich. Just crack the throttle. That's all good. Okay, not going to bother with lights because the Spit looks better without lights, and this is a simulator, not real life. Probably get in trouble for that. Fuel on, and we just advance the throttle. There we go. So we just switch the little switch down here, and that gives us some lights. We can see our down indicator is on, which is good, and it's got the sunlight on it, so you can't quite see it, but we've got the fuel pressure warning lights here. So we just need to pump up the jams a little bit here, and that should go out. I think it usually takes about 14 or 15 pumps. And I completely lost count because I was waffling. There it goes. Give it a few extras. Let's give it some prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 for luck. Leave that unlocked for the time being in case we need to give it any more. Undo the covers. Quick check around. Nothing untoward. We'll have the mags on now. Shout clear prop. If you get in the way of the propeller now, it's your own fault. and let's go for it. Oh, let's just put a headset on. There we go. Okay, let's go. And everything's looking good. Bring it back a little bit. Can lock the primer now. Looking good. Sounding good. Right, temperature's looking good. We're nice and warm, and as the Spit is notorious for getting hot on the ground, we don't want to hang around a bit. So let's get going. We're going to head over to the runway. We've got not much in the way of wind, 2 knots from 270. Just remember, this has now got the differential braking. There's nothing coming. Do have to be a little bit careful because there are multiplayer aircraft around. Right, let's just stop here a second. And we'll do a quick run-up check and cycle the prop. Let's not hang around too much, we don't want to overheat. Right, we can have pitot heat fuel pump on now. Just check that's taken. Yes, it has. Okay, let's go. Now the Spit's due an update soon. What I'd normally do on takeoff is hold the brakes, apply some power, and get going, but at the moment for some reason if you hold the brakes and apply some power and then release, you actually start going backwards. So hopefully that's something they're getting fixed in the next patch, which I believe is out soon. Well, we're just slowly trundling. Let's get some elevator down trim. Now some people like elevator up trim, some people like elevator neutral trim. I like down trim. That's how I learned on the A2A Mark 1 and Mark 2. Slightly different with the Mark 9 because you've got the extra power and I guess the weight is different, but it's just what works for me, so that's what I'm going to do. Right, let's see how rusty I am. We're doing a nice takeoff. Quick look around. Everything's looking good. Yeah, happy with that, happy with that. Let's go. So release the brake now, so I don't go backwards. Stick back. Gently forward now on the stick. Watch the speed come up. And rotate. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Transfer stick to left hand, and let's close the canopy. That's better. Okay, quick look around, everything's good. Let's come back on the power straight away so we don't get a hot spit, and let's have a look at Duxford. Isn't that glorious? An elliptical wing and Duxford in the same shot. It doesn't get much better than that. Gorgeous morning for it. field. It's stunning. I say it every time to the point where it must be very boring, but say what you want to about the flight models in this simulator, it looks absolutely stunning. I've got the Rex AccuSeason running as well, so my trees are in has sprung mode. I think that's one of the great things about this actually, is that you using an add-on like that, you get that nice kind of feeling of what's happening in the real world is being mirrored in a way in the sim world, and I quite like that. Sometimes I like to do something a bit different, but sometimes in my weird kind of make-believe I'm a Warbird pilot, I wish kind of way, it's nice to fly in real world conditions. See that everything's okay, which it is, which is always gives you a nice warm fuzzy feeling. Oh, just over there is Alconbury, which of course is the famous bomber base from World War II, RAF Alconbury. That just there was Witten, but I'm looking over there, can't quite see it from here. And up on the nose, shortly we'll be seeing Peterborough. A opportune time to say, if you're enjoying this video and if you like this sort of thing, and if you're new to the channel perhaps, please do consider subscribing. Be good to see you here again, and it always helps the channel to grow. Cheesy tails pitch over, you'll be relieved to know. Now what on earth is that? Sometimes the autogen injects some strange things. If you know what that is, let me know. Let's go and have a look at it actually. Now what's happened here is that the autogen has obviously injected something very strange into the simulator, and let's see if we can work out what that could be, apart from a giant concrete comedy moustache. That's going to be one to have a look at on Google Maps later on. So on the map we are coming up to that's Upward Glider Field. And that looks like it's probably some old World War II era hangars. And Microsoft Flight Simulator has mistaken taxiways for buildings. The AI has gone a little bit haywire there, I think. But there you go. The World famous giant concrete comedy moustache, brought to you in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Don't tell me that you don't get realism on this channel. I always like to bring you the best. Anyway, onwards we must travel. Isn't that stunning? Dawn and dusk is definitely a really nice time to fly, as I know a lot of you enjoy as well. The lighting is just spectacular. Quite often if I'm doing videos where I actually want to show off scenery, I tend to use a time of day that's more kind of midday, because the lighting for looking in detail in scenery is so much better. But it's nice to show you the kind of lighting that I actually enjoy more for doing this kind of flying, where you can't necessarily see so much detail in the scenery, but it's just so damn atmospheric. Can you imagine people actually do this as a job, or as a second job? Some people even get paid to do this. Oh my lord. Talking at Spitfires.com earlier, they also have an absolutely fantastic simulator that I've been lucky to have a go in as well, and it uses some original parts from World War II Spitfires, and they even, certainly when I flew it, they'd even used a enhanced, how can I say it? Basically, when you primed it, you got the smell, fragrance, beautiful perfume of fuel, and that was a lovely little touch. Yeah, it's well worth a look. They use it to train real-world pilots onto type, but also the public can go in and have a go and have a flight, and it's a superb experience, and I only wish I had a setup like that, but I'd have a hard time getting it through the front door. There's Peterborough. Now, of course, some people might say, why on earth have you got a modern day fighter pilot avatar flying your Spitfire? Well, if you noticed on the little clip of the real G-ILDA, the pilots that fly G-ILDA do wear these kind of flying suits, and also wear white bone domes. Now, of course, the default Microsoft Flight Simulator fighter pilot, which is what I'm using, has got the kind of jet oxygen umbilical cord and all that sort of thing. Not much I can do about that, but I prefer doing it that way than using the World War II pilot, really, because I tend to fly these in my, again, warped imaginary Warbird pilot world. I tend to fly these as restoration aircraft rather than imagining that I'm actually bombing around in World War II, flying a Spitfire in that way. So that's the reason I do it that way. I just think for a Warbird in the modern era, which this world outside the window is, it feels a little bit more realistic and, dare I say, a little bit more immersive. Right, let's come back on the prop a little bit. We can wind things back a bit. Don't need to be running at such high RPM. Again, opinions differ on this sort of thing. I probably spent too much time in the Mark 1 and Mark 2, but I tend to like to be a little bit gentle. As I say, I'm running it more as a restoration aircraft rather than trying to get as much performance out of it as I can and screaming around. Treat her gently. She's an old girl. I think for me in Flight Simulator or Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment, really this Spit and the FlyingIron Hellcat is probably my two favourite Warbirds, without a doubt. I miss so bad the A2A Warbirds in this simulator, especially the Mustang. My God, we need a Mustang, a good Mustang. But FlyingIron have done a fantastic job with the Spit and the Hellcat, there's no doubt. And now that they've added that differential braking to the Spit, that's just added more realism to it. And as I say, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next update does. One of the great things about FlyingIron is they don't hang about. They don't just release and then move on to something else and forget about it. They do keep releasing updates, they keep improving with input from real-world pilots, and of course the FlyingIron Spit model is now being used by the Battle of Britain Memorial flight as well for training, so they'll be getting some extra input from them as well, no doubt. So it's just great to see, and it's, you know, beautiful to fly. So we're not a million miles away from Cranwell now, so we'll get ready to do our run-in. Last time I was here, and I don't believe there was an update, I've got the Orbex kind of landmarks pack, and there's a little bit of a bug going on at the main college building, which we're probably going to see, unfortunately. I did post in there, I think on their forum I mentioned it, and I think hopefully one day they'll fix it, because it is a bit of a shame. They are grand buildings, and well, we'll see what it looks like. Coming up on the airfield now. There's the college building. And the bug has gone, yay! Apart from that pause there. Cool. That deserves another pass. Yeah, there was some horrible autogen concrete buildings popping up in amongst the college buildings, and it looked terrible. Salute to Cranwell. Okay, onwards to RAF Church Fenton. Sounds so much better than Leeds East Airport. What a stubborn old goat. Anyway, I hope you are well. What kind of things are you flying at the moment? Feel free to drop down in the comments below. Tell me what you're flying at the moment, what you're enjoying the most. It's always interesting to know. I've been doing a fair bit of helicopter flying. That's a new thing for me. Not done a great deal of that in simulators before. So I am very much a rookie, but with the high performance group H145 and the action pack, I've been having some great fun without pretending to be an air ambulance driver, and also the Cowan Sim 500E and the H125, good fun as well. And I recently got the Alouette, which is also an interesting one. Was recommended by some people on the Discord, thought I'd have a look, and it's definitely got one of the nicest interiors from the point of view of visibility. Really nice, and might not be my cup of tea from the outside, but not the model. The model is superb in terms of what the developer has done, more so the design of the helicopter, but fun to fly, that's for sure. My all-time favourite has to be the H145 though, purely because of all the things that you can do with it. With the action pack, it's very immersive. So I've gone from my P3 days where I pretty much only flew Warbirds like this and some GA, some single-engine GA, to now spending time flying Warbirds, of course. Also flying the King Air, the Black Square King Air. Love flying that. And I fly that for my VA, and that's where I do my big boy grown-up IFR flying. I do the helicopters, and then every now and again it's nice to poodle around in some single-engine GA as well. So there's a whole mix of things that you can do, and I enjoy doing. And with scenery as we have in this sim now, it makes this kind of flying an absolute joy, because you're seeing the world almost as it really is, rather than just sort of generic texture tiles. Yeah, anywhere in the world. A couple of power stations over there. So we have Doncaster over there, getting nicely north now. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Church Fenton goes for the Flying Legends Air Show, or Leeds East Airport I should say. I won't be able to get there this year unfortunately, but I'm sure it's going to be an amazing event. And Church Fenton, Leeds East Airport, has certainly earned its chops as a very fitting location for an air show, and of course they've had air shows there for many years, but certainly for some like Flying Legends, which is all about Warbirds. It opened in 1937. It started off as part of 13 Group and was home to the first Eagle Squadron, 71 Squadron, made up of American volunteers. It was also home to the first All-Canadian Squadron, which was 242, and also the All-Polish Squadron, which was 306. And it was also home to the first Night Fighter Operational Training Unit, which was 54 OTU, when it was transferred to 12 Group. 1960 it became a training base, and sadly in 2013 it closed and became Leeds East Airport, and they've had quite a lineup of aircraft there. They've had Gloucester Gladiators, which is what they started off with. Brewster Buffalo made a short appearance, then the Hurricane, then they've also had Mosquito, Spitfire, Blenheim, Beaufighter, Typhoon and Mustang. And then post-war it was one of the first places to receive the Meteor and the Hunter, and eventually became home to number 7 Flying Training School with Bulldogs and then Tucanos. So there's been a good old mix coming off the runways here at Church Fenton, and as I say, the location has definitely earned its stripes to host something like Flying Legends, and probably a lot easier for the people who live further north of the country to get to. I live in the south of the country, so selfishly it's a right pain for me, but it's nice that some of the people further north get a chance to have an easier ride coming down to it. But of course people come from all over the world to Flying Legends. It's a huge event, as I'm sure you know. You're watching this channel, especially if you got this far in this video, you must like your Warbird, so you don't need me to tell you about Flying Legends, that's for sure. Okay, well, we're not a million miles away from Church Fenton now. I will make a confession to you. There is what looks like a rather nice third-party scenery available for this on flightsim.to, and I was thinking of using it, and then I saw the number of packs that you needed to have installed for it, and unfortunately I just really didn't have enough time this morning to get all that set up and loaded up for it, so we're just going to take it as it comes from Microsoft Flight Simulator, because I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think I've got any third-party scenery installed for this. I did have a quick look at Church Fenton months ago, and I don't remember installing anything for it, so we're either going to get a nice surprise or it's going to be stock Microsoft Flight Simulator. Either way, it's what is it they say, it's not the destination, or it's not about the destination, it's the journey. That's my excuse, and by God I'm sticking to it. So a quick look at everything. Yeah, everything's looking fine. Nice gentle flight here. Our T's and P's are good. What's the wind? Wind where we are is 4 knots from 264, so I think runway 24 would probably be quite a good bet, but we'll just have a look first of all. Interesting autogen there. We'll just stay at a respectful height, just in case, because we don't know what might be down there. I don't want to ruin anyone's day by bombing in like an idiot. But I'm not seeing anything. This is definitely stock Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't think there's anything add-on going on here. Certainly not seeing anything on the ground, so we'll go down a bit lower and have a look. Just tip in. Stay away from the runway just in case. nothing there. Okay. Well, let us land. So normally we do a nice fancy schmancy brake, but we've not done that. Keeping an eye on the speed there. One of the strange things about the current version of this Spit is that the prop braking action, the aerodynamic braking, seems to be quite high, so you wouldn't really be able to do this, and I think that might be one of the things they look at in the next update. But looking at the speed there, right, let's put the prop fully forward now, and we'll dangle the Dunlops. A little bit low. A little bit low is actually an understatement. Right, let's just check the track IR, not track IR, it's Grass Monkey now. It's force of habit, I've not had track IR for years. Right, bring around. Have some flap. Flap in a Spit works more like a dirty great big air brake. And watching the speed now. Nice curved approach so we can still see where we're going because of this big nose that we've got in front. Stick back, just keep on the pedals, let's have some brake, don't start oscillating. You have to be so careful now with this version, you've really got to watch the pedals or it'll start oscillating all over the show. So there we go, we're down in one piece, which is a miracle. Should we do that again? Let's do that again. Sometimes, what is it they say? Practice makes perfect. When you're a little bit rusty, as I seem to be, because that wasn't a particularly nice landing, sometimes you do it again. That instructor in your head saying, "Rubbish! Do it again!" So that's what we're going to do. Right, gear down. So, critiquing myself what I did before, I allowed the aircraft to come over too far to the right, and so we weren't centre line when we landed, but also when I put the brakes on, the aircraft you saw started oscillating, and that is how you end up dropping a wing and digging a nice trench in the airfield. Right, drop the flap, watching the speed, try and judge our landing a little bit better this time. long runway. Did the same thing, came over to the right. Stick back. Keep on the pedals. And let's have some braking. That's a bit better. That's a bit better. There we go. There we go. Just getting a feel for it. Very, very sensitive braking on this version, which always makes life interesting. So, anyway, fresh air. Hope you enjoyed that flight. It's always nice getting up in the Spitfire. It's always good to keep your hand in, and I think we've seen there that from my landings they need a little bit of spit and polish, as they say, to get us up to speed, but that's what it's all about. It'd be boring if it was easy, right? Anyway, hope you enjoyed the flight.